welcome back to The View from Port Vale. As this week we're celebrating a huge win against Bolton that keeps us 11 points off safety and keeps Cardiff City 11 points clear in second place. Ben, Tom, joining me as always. Ben Price. We've had a tweet. I'm gonna read the tweet out to you now. Grayson Brody says, "Is part-time Price back on the pod this week, or has he booked another day off?" You're here, so no days off for you.
I'm here, yeah. What I will say is, you boys recorded it on Sunday, which was Mother's Day. Tom hates his mum so much he moved across the other side of the world. You moved to a different country as well. So, look, one of us has to be a good son. I was there. Went for Sunday lunch with my mum and my nan. They paid. It was just having a lovely time.
But you couldn't do a podcast.
Well, I was in Brecon. I was supposed to be in Brecon all weekend, but yeah, there's admin issues that go into it. But yeah, I was in Brecon. You were recording early. Couldn't happen. It was just one of those, wasn't it? So Ryan stepped in, did a decent-ish job. He was there, turned up. I didn't, so I can't complain, can I?
You can't complain. Tom, can you complain?
No, I can't complain. True story, I did move that far away just to get away from my mum. So if she's listening, hi, Andrea. I'm sorry about the Mother's Day card turning up late.
The post from Australia is pretty bad. Well, it's been a week in the world of Cardiff City. We lost to Wycombe on Tuesday. We drew 0-0 with Blackpool yesterday. Ben Price, there's been a bit of overreaction, hasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think other results gone our way have sort of made things all right. But it's an overreaction, but I get why people are panicked. I'll say that. We had, I'd say, I wouldn't say it was heated in the chat, but it was a bit feisty, wasn't it? In the other day when I was sort of like, this is not the time to have a blip. You then were adamant it wasn't a blip.
Wait, what is a blip? How do you define a blip? No, I'm not going to say it's a blip. We're fine.
It wasn't a blip. I think it's a blip now.
Might be a blip. We've crept into blip territory.
Yeah. I think post Wycombe, no blip. Post Blackpool, blip. It's definitely blip time.
But other teams are having a blip now as well, so it's fine.
Are Bolton having a blip? How do you define a blip?
I think so, yeah. I think it's it's a run of poor results, isn't it? I'd say it's not a disastrous run of form, but it's not a great run of form. We've won 2 in 5. They've won 2 in 5. I'd say we're both having blips. I'd say Bradford are having blips. I'd say Stockport, given their form recently, aren't having a blip. They're on a continuous run of form.
A continuous blip?
Who else we got? A continuous blip. Leyton Orient are having a reverse blip because they're on 4 wins in 6.
A revival.
A reverse blip, I prefer to call it.
A reverse. Yeah. How many times do we say the word blip in this podcast? Tom, after yesterday's game against Blackpool, there were a few boos at the end of the game. Did that feel appropriate to you?
I get it because I think we're in a blip. But I'm now not convinced that's a real word. I've heard this so many times. I've never been a booer, even in like the Omarisa
ironic
days,
booman sense.
Yeah, like I'm not a boo merchant, but like it does a little bit. It feels a little bit much considering where we are in the league, and it is a nervy time in the season. I think the last thing we need to be doing is booing our team. I think it's already like this is what happened before, right? This is why we kind of tend to struggle at home when like our backs against the wall and things go against us. It can get a little bit nasty at home, and because it's like a half-empty stadium, nasty. It's like you can hear like individual voices. It does feel worse than like a unified boo in a full stadium. So I'm not gonna like give a call out to the fans to stop booing. It's not my place to do it. Do what you want. But like if I was there, I wouldn't be joining them because like it's an unfortunate run of form. Teams seem to have found us out, but I'm sure we'll turn it around. I'm still pretty confident. So I wouldn't say it's an overreaction. I get it, but I'm not panicking as much as I thought I would be considering the run of results we've had.
Yeah, I think back to last season when sort of this stage of the season we were fighting for our lives and we went, I think it was QPR away, sort of 6 or 7 games left last season. It was a dreadful game. Ben, you were there as well.
It was
a terrible
awful,
game of football at QPR. We absolutely laboured to a lucky 0-0 draw. I think even Horvath was our man of the match, which says a lot really about that stage of the season. And I just remember at the end of the game, everyone roundly applauded the fans. And it was so bizarre because at that point I was like, if we booed them at 0-0, because that was almost like not confirmation of relegation, but it was like, we're going to have to fight our way out of this even harder than I first thought. But we seem to like take it the other way and applaud the players who are at least trying their best, which is a really weird thing. Because like this season, when you put it a 0-0 draw against Blackpool, yes, it's not the best result, but we still would have been 8 points clear of third. And it feels like the reactions have gone the other way. It feels like last season we were a bit more encouraging during the kind of run-in. And this season, when there's like, maybe it's because there are seemingly bigger things at stake because we're going to get promoted. It feels like the fans are going slightly the other way. I just don't know where it's coming from, Ben. Like this season has been great. And now all of a sudden, yes, we're hitting the skids a little bit, but it doesn't feel like booing territory to me.
Not even close. I mean, I get sort of like, oh, it's shit, it's this, it's that. But booing, I don't understand it. We're second in the league. We're playing football with youngsters. We're pretty much getting everything we've asked for years. There's going to be ups and downs. We've said it a lot this season. There's going to be ups and downs. At the moment, we're having a bit of a blip. But it's just one of those. I found the booing really, really odd and entitled. I don't understand. We haven't earned the right to boo when we're second in the league. People very quickly forget how bad it's been the last few years. I mean, yeah, we booed less. Like we booed Reese's team off less, and they put some proper abject performances.
I don't know if I'm misremembering, but it feels like we were booing Reese's team a bit less. I don't know what it is.
I think this is a new behaviour, though. I think we've always dealt better with being an underdog than being favourites. I think as a fan base, like we kind of like it when it's like plucky, backs against the wall, getting the odd result here and there, and then we kind of don't know what to do with ourselves when we're like top or second. And I put myself in that bracket as well. I find it really uncomfortable when we're the favourites going into games. I think we're going to lose more games when we're favourites to win, when we're like 4-1 on. Like I'll go into a game against Man City going, oh, I think we're going to nick it. But I'll go into a game against Blackpool thinking, oh, they might have enough to turn us over here. And it's just, I think it's the weird juxtaposition as a Cardiff fan. Like we're just not comfortable being in the position we're in now. And I don't know. It's one of these kind of periods that come the end of the season, if we do go up, we'll kind of forget about this. We'll never think about it again. Like we'll forget that we booed or whatever, and we'll get through it. And I'm sure it will be that, but I'm not shocked. And I doubt there's a huge amount of people who booed, right? It just stands out in that stadium, even if it's like 2 or 3 people. I mean, this might be over-egging speaking about it as much as we are, but I think like the people who are booing need to take a long, hard look at themselves. It can get a lot worse. We've seen a hell of a lot worse in the last 5-10 years than this.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. I think
we're all just missing context and perspective, aren't we?
Yeah, and the run at home's been spectacular. It's 3 bad performances. Some might say it's a blip, but it's just
that word's going in my head now.
just but it's just weird. Like I think the home form's been sort of a really, really enjoyable part of this season. Sort of everything.
We were unbeaten for most of the season, weren't we? At home, like after Bradford onwards, we barely lost a game at home.
It's only this. I think we've only lost 2 at home. I think twice this season we've lost 2 on the bounce at home. I think this is the worst run of form we've had at home with 3 without winning in 3. It's if you're booing at that, your sort of levels are a bit too high there. I think we'll lower your expectations. We're in League One for a reason. We're playing with a bunch of kids. The pressure's going to get some at times. I just find it really odd.
It is odd. Let's talk about something that was odd this week, the Wycombe game on Tuesday night. I mean, we can talk about the game, we can talk about the ins and outs, but the reality was, Tom, that we probably were the better team over 90 minutes. We had most of the ball, we dominated most of the play, even with 10 men. But as soon as Osho got sent off, it turned the game in Wycombe's favour, didn't it? And it meant that we were kind of on the back foot, even though we weren't on the back foot.
Yeah, it's obviously kind of like it's the major talking point of the game. But like I was still feeling confident after a red card that we might get a result from it because we've seen it earlier in the season as well. But yeah, we were okay up until that point. Again, we weren't spectacular. I think Kellyman missed a sitter, didn't he, early on in that game?
Yeah.
And I think it's a completely different game if we go 1 up early on. I think with our home form this season, if we get our noses in front, we're normally winning games. But yes, a rush of blood to the head from Osho, that kind of turns the game then in Wycombe's favour. And I think the thing that's really frustrating is the nature and how they won the game. Like the first goal is just a straight ball, straight over the top of our defence that they go through. And the second one's a set piece. So they're both quite, like, they're avoidable. Being one man down, you still shouldn't be conceding from a set piece. There's enough people back in the box to deal with it. So I think I'm not disappointed that we lost because we had 10 men. I'm disappointed in just the nature and how we kind of limped probably towards the end of that game to a defeat that probably could have been avoided.
We'll talk about the Osho red card, Ben, but on that goal, Tom made the point, obviously, the long ball. Wintle was basically shunted in at centre-half. Is there something that BBM could have done to sort that out? Could he have brought a fish on? Could he have brought a replacement centre-half on? Again, it's one of those, isn't it? Because it was one or two chances they had that they scored from, but does a defender deal with that better than Wintle does, as much as Wintle did admirably at centre-half?
Yeah, I think you put Fish in there, he does win that ball, and they don't get that first goal. But I totally understand where he was coming from with the selections there. I think if you're doing it, we're pushing for promotion. We need to win this game. I think if you're going straight away, right, we're down to 10 men. Let's take an attacking player off or a midfielder off and put a defender on. It sends the wrong message. It's not how he's done things this season. I think there's flaws and there's still stuff with BBM's game because he's new that he needs to work out and learn how to manage games better. But I think he's been consistent this season of he won't sacrifice attacking for defence. He's not done it all season. So I've got no problem with him doing that. It's just one of those. We were caught out. We pushed forward. And even down to 10 men, we were still creating stuff, or we were still sort of in their attacking third where it needed to be. It's just you're down to 10 men. They've got a man advantage and they've got all 11 men behind the ball. That space isn't coming. You've got to work hard. You've got to think of something different. You've got to be quicker with that passes. And that's where we let ourselves down more than the defensive side. They were always going to get an opportunity to score when they're down to 10 men. It's just how it goes, especially when we're pushing forward. They're going to hit us on the counter. We've been susceptible to balls over the top for a while this season. It's happened a lot. It was just one of those. I think for me, the bigger disappointment with the whole down to 10 men performance was we weren't quick enough. And it's probably the last few games at home, we've not been quick enough with those passes where we've broken lines and we've sort of got forward in real attacking force previously. It's been a lot more laboured. Players sort of feel a bit like they're not trying to walk it in, but like a lot slow with passing. They're not as confident to try and break it. They're not being brave with their passing anymore. And that's where it hurt us, not so much not bringing the centre back on. That's just a byproduct of being down to 10 men.
Let's talk about the red card. I think it's only right that we touch upon it. In one word, Ben, was it a red card for you?
No.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'm in the middle because I'm the
No, you're not. You're
I didn't think it
lying.
was a red at the time. I didn't think it was a red at the time. Tom, why don't you think it's a red? This is just purely because I think when I tweeted about it on Tuesday night, I had people in the comments saying, yes, absolutely a red. Other people saying, no, it's a full value yellow. And other people saying, I can see why it's a red, but other referees wouldn't give it. Like, I think it split people massively. So we just got to air those opinions.
I think it is a red. And it's the pace he goes in. He's out of control. It's the way he goes into it. Like when you're going in with that force, you can't say you're in control of what you're doing. And I think the way he goes in, it's not studs fully up, but like they're showing it. Like when you're going at that pace as well, you're just not in control of what your foot is doing, and it's just completely just not needed. It's rash, and like I'm all for full-blooded tackle, and I think probably like 5 years ago, like you're encouraging tackles like that, but you just know you can't do that now. And it's just an idiotic kind of like rush of blood to the head. And one we've seen a few times from Osho this season, it's just, there was no harm. There was people covering, and just, it's a red just because it's rash. It's just, you can, like when you play it at full speed, you can slow it down and see if his studs are showing in what way. It's just the force. He comes in from a hell of a distance. He thinks the ball's there to win. It's that awkward distance away from the player where you go, okay, your eyes light up here. I can go in, make a tough challenge. But he completely misses it. He's nowhere near it. And if you do pause it, like there's a massive gap between him and the ball. And he almost gets there, like before the ball does. And he just goes straight through the man. And I think I can see why people are trying to defend against him, say it's a yellow. And you can say it's gone soft. But yeah, the game has gone soft. And you've got to kind of like change your behavior for that. So for me, I think it's an absolute stonewall red card. And just a senior player like that needs to be doing better.
Ben? The case for the opposition.
There's a lot I agree with Tom there. I think it's rash, it's stupid, it's a needless challenge. But I think he was sent off for was it serious foul? Not serious foul play. Violent conduct was it? I can't remember what it was, but it's like the one that carries a 3-game ban, not a 1-game ban. And I don't think it met that threshold. His studs are down. He's not gone in high. It is just late and rash. To me, most other referees would see that and give it as a yellow card. It's stupid, and he is so naive for like even putting himself in a place where the referee's got to make a decision on that. But I think it's harsh. I think it's a very, very harsh red card. He's not caught him high. His studs are down. He's facing away. It is just he's gone in powerfully. And there's been other tackles that have gone in a lot harder than that this season. But I completely agree that he's given the referee a decision to make, and that's where he's let himself down. I think that's very stupid of him. I don't think he's totally blameless in this, but for me, I think it's for some of the tackles we've seen going on our players this season, I don't think we've been down, like faced a team who have gone down to 10 men yet this season, have they? We haven't had a red card for the opposition. We've had quite a few, which is odd. But I think of all the stuff that's gone on, I don't think that's one I'm going to look back and go, oh, that was a Stonewall red card. It's your textbook orange.
Full body yellow.
I think though, like I agree that we've seen worse, but we've complained that they haven't made a decision and sent them off. I think if you're comparing it to other challenges, definitely there's been worse this season, but we shouldn't be. I think this one was officiated properly, and I think other decisions this season, especially against us, haven't been. So again, we're back to that inconsistency, I think, of like from referees in this division. But I think what you said there is bang on. Like you shouldn't be putting the referee in a decision in a place where he has to make a decision on that, especially like where in the field it was, the circumstances. There's no pressure on it. Just chill out. Like in that stage of the game, at this stage of the season, make a smarter decision. And I know that we probably don't want to take that kind of edge away from his game, because I love Osho. I love the way he plays football. Like it is on the edge at times, and he makes some stupid decisions, but it's just a really frustrating one at home. It wasn't a particularly niggly game. It wasn't one where we really needed to make a statement tackle or anything like that. So I think it's just a little bit naive and completely avoidable.
I completely agree with that. He's his own worst enemy this season. You can see he
creates problems for himself.
He's so in his own head. He had because he's still put off by the start he had. I feel like he's still trying to impress and sort of make us think he's a good player when a lot of people do. There are some people now, and the way football is and the way especially Cardiff fans are, he could be nominated for a Ballon d'Or in 12 months and people would still say he's shit. There were people still saying at the end of his time at the club, Sean Morrison was shit, even because he had a poor start. Some people's like cards are marked. I think Osho's done enough to prove that he deserves to be in that squad. And like when he plays and his head's in it and he does the right stuff, he's an asset to this team. And in the right game, he's one of the best centre-half pairings there. For me, at times, I think him and Lawler could be an all-time centre-back partnership if he sort of gets his head right. But he needs to stop making these decisions, man. It's just hurting just hurting him more. He needs to sort of like, yeah, I don't know. Because Tom's right, you don't want to take the niggle out of him because that's what makes him very good. But that's so stupid from one of the more senior players in this squad to do it in that area of the pitch. And that's sort of where he's let himself down. And it's such a shame.
His second red card of the season. He got sent off for Auxerre, I think, in the first game of the season before he signed for us, potentially. My view on it is, I think, Tom, you said it, he's almost early in the tackle. It's like he gets there before the players even thought about what he does. And I think the player he's tackling is quite cute because he knocks the ball under Osho, and that makes it look a lot worse than it is. Because I think at that point, if the player doesn't do that, Osho takes everything. He takes man, ball, and everything goes with him. And I think at that point, the referees can only give a yellow because it's not mistimed. Yes, it might be reckless or might be kind of like slightly wild, but he's got the ball. And therefore, like, I don't think that really can be a red. I still don't think it's a clear-cut red, but as you guys have said, he's given the referee a decision to make. And I also think if you look at where the referee's positioning is, he's seeing it through 2 or 3 players that are in front of him. And I think all he's going to see is Osho leap in and come out the other side with the man on the floor. So he's had a decision to make. I just think that the reality is that other referees this season would probably, some of the referees we've seen this season wouldn't even give a yellow card for that. They'd just say it's a foul and that would be it, because they're so inconsistent in this league. But it is what it is. He was suspended for the Blackpool game, which meant that everyone's favourite partnership, Tom, could play together. Puscott and Lawler back together again. Everyone was happy about that, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And clean sheet. So,
Yeah.
you know, enough said. End of pod.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week after the international break. No, but I think that seems our most natural pairing, doesn't it, Tom? Fish and Lawler. They seem to have a way of playing together that just works. Whereas when you put Chambers and Osho together, there seems to be a period of adjustment. When you put Lawler and Osho together, there seems to be a period of adjustment. Like they seem to fit together more naturally.
I also think it's the more exciting pairing out of all the ones you put together, right? It's the one you can look at and think it's one we could build on in the future if Lawler doesn't get stolen by another team. But it is the kind of it's the young, exciting part of our squad, and I think we're kind of, we really want that sort of vibe about our team, and that's exactly what they bring. And I think Chambers has still got a little bit of the hangover of being part of last season. Osho was making mad decisions at times. So I think
he's giving himself a hangover for next season. Yeah,
exactly, right. And I think these are the two that have got kind of less blots on their report card. So they do look really calm. They do look really measured. And I think it puts me at ease as a fan watching them. They don't make as many rash decisions. They can be too far away from the ball or too far away from their man, but they don't make decisions that make you panic.
Yeah.
And I think that's why watching them, I feel a lot calmer than I do with some of the other pairings that we put out this season.
Yeah, and Ben, it was the kind of bedrock for the game itself. And, yes, a 0-0 game, it was a very frustrating game of football, but ultimately we were by far the better team. We were by far the dominant team. It just didn't work for us, did it? And that's what made it frustrating yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. It was a day that Blackpool set out to frustrate from the off. Just look how they set up. They changed from, they were quite attacking. When they set up in the previous games, it sort of been quite attacking. They've gone with sort of back four and then 2-2-2, so that they're playing sort of quite narrow. Here they set up back three, wing backs, really sort of low block there. And it's been a similar thing. I think this is probably where the frustration comes for a lot of fans. Is it's incredibly obvious now that teams have cracked this false nine stuff. The false nine position at home, especially previously, the goals, everything was working well. There's been a couple of tweaks to it, trying to find a way of playing Colwell and Kellyman at the same time. Hasn't worked for the most part. I know the extra game sort of came in, it was all right, but it was more than all right. Away from home, it's a different thing. But at home,
4-0,
but playing Colwell and Kellyman together at home with teams playing just there, because again, similar to Wycombe, it was constantly, when you look at it, if we were getting through and we're sort of into that final third, we were slow with passing, which didn't help, but they were straight away setting up in a block of 5 and 5. So there was no way through, even with the most majestic play possible. There was no sort of channels to run into. It needed to change up. I think teams have ultimately sussed this false nine now, and it's on BBM to sort of figure this out and figure out a game plan to see the season out. Salek coming back is huge, because I think a lot of people will look at it of what does Robbo need to do to get a start, but realistically, how different is Robbo's style of play from what Kellyman was doing? He might be a bit more clinical.
If anything, he goes deeper.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought he came on the last 2 games he's come on, he's been anonymous. I thought he might kick on, sort of sit on that front line a bit more, but he just hasn't made an impact. We haven't had anyone come off the bench in the last few weeks to make that impact. And that's probably where we were really lucky at the start, sort of earlier on in the season, was BBM would make those changes. You could see it wasn't working at half-time. He'd bring on a double change. He might make a triple substitution. And those players would come in and affect the game and change the games. There was a lot of games early on where we were sort of 0-0 or 1-0 down at half-time, a couple of changes. It's like Turnbull coming on, for example, for Robertson or vice versa. And it would make a difference. Those players would really change the flow of the game. It's hard to change the flow of the game when you're already dominating. I think that's sort of where we're really struggling, and we're just not breaking teams down. We're not being as clinical as we were. And that's where the frustration was, because Blackpool offered nothing. Let's be honest. I saw someone tweet that we were lucky to get away with it, but I don't agree with that at all. I thought they are delighted with a point, and that's all they were there for. They had probably one half chance where they were nowhere near. Other than that,
Bloxham's chance where he poked it just past the post.
Yeah, that was close.
That was close. And then there was maybe one other chance that doesn't really stand out, but that was the closest they came.
But they've had, like, we have Kellyman again early on the first half should have scored.
Yeah, definitely.
Peacock Farrell pulls off 2 great saves. That header from Wintle, I still can't work out how he saved that. It was just one of those days for me. I was far more frustrated with the Wycombe result than I was with this. I thought we played all right. It's just now this break and this international break is coming at the perfect time for us.
It's interesting. You say about the Wycombe game, it's like the Wycombe game, it felt like we'd got away with one because of other results. With this one, felt like a missed opportunity. I don't know what it was. And I think within that kind of week, it's a completely different mindset for me. And I think other people might think it's the other way around in the games. But like, it's frustrating because we win the games we've had this week, we're pretty much up.
Yeah,
and I think like my mindset's completely shifted from midweek to now. This Blackpool result has really, really frustrated me because we should be winning this game at home with 11 men on the field, sort of thing. But like you touched upon it earlier on, Ben, about like we've been changing tactics earlier in the season. It's been making a difference. And we said later this season when Salah got injured, does he get back in? This is the perfect game where you see this is why he does get back in, because the reason we were kind of getting back into games earlier in the season was we had Salah on for that style of play, and when people came on we could change it up. At the moment we just haven't got the personnel there to change it up at all, and now like you said, the break has come in, it's the perfect time, and we need Salah to come straight back in to give us that plan A or plan B depending which way BBM wants to start the games, because teams have worked this out and we need to be flipping back and forth and get to that stage where like during the season, we didn't know how we was going to pick the team. We didn't know how he was going to set them out, and opposition didn't know that either. But now they do, and it's not working for us. So I'm excited for Salah to come back in.
And I think that's it. Right? You look at the bench and you look at the players who come on. There's no game changers really on the bench anymore, is there? Earlier in the season, we could bring on a Kellyman, or we could bring on. Even at that point, Robinson felt like an exciting person off the bench. You had Ashford or Davis to come off the bench, whoever was playing wings at that point. Yesterday, our subs were Turnbull, Robinson, Willock, and Joel Colwell. Willock isn't the player he was back in January. There was a purple patch for Chris Willock where he looked like the best player in the league. He hasn't been able to recapture that form recently. I don't know what's going on there. Turnbull, I like Turnbull, but he's a very steady Eddie. He's not going to come on and, change the game in a more creative attacking sense. Robinson, we've talked about, he kind of drops in and doesn't really offer anything different at this stage. And Joel Colwell, you could argue, should have come on earlier. Because I think Joel Colwell is someone who can come on and change the way we play. But like he's not like a Kellyman in that sense. But Joel Colwell will come on and just make stuff happen because he runs about so much. And he does get assists and goals. Sorry, Ben, I cut you off then.
I think Colwell should be starting. I think you play either Ruben or Kellyman and Joel Colwell starting. Yeah. I think the midfield works so much better with that, but it just feels like we're trying to shoehorn both of those lads into the squad. I get it. On paper, that's a ridiculous sort of attacking two to have in League One. But at home, it's just not clicking for them. They're too, I don't know if they're too similar. I don't know what it is, but neither of them have had good games at home sort of recently. They're struggling at home. I thought Colwell was excellent against Exeter. I thought he was absolutely superb. Did exactly what he needed to be. He was in that attacking third. It was brilliant. But at home, it just doesn't get going, does it? It just hasn't worked with those two there. I thought Ashford had one of his best games. All he's missing again, it's the classic tale of Ashford. I thought he worked so hard. I thought he was brilliant on the press. Got us forward. He was looking at our best attacking threat. But just, he just doesn't look like he believes he's going to score when he gets chances. Cut across a couple of times. It is just that lack of options. And I think it's telling that BBM sort of run out ideas that the Wycombe game was the first time we've started the same 11 this season. Yeah. I think that was. And
we only made one change. We only made one change for Blackpool, right? Because it was the suspension.
Yeah, so it's sort of going. It is players sort of run up against a bit of a brick wall, but sort of it's a young squad looking tired. A sort of system that's been found out quite a bit. All of that in one hit, and BBM going right now. What options have we got to change it? Because other than Joel Colwell starting, there's not a huge amount wrong with that starting 11 on paper. Like, it's arguably probably the best one. There's an argument, could you put Capaccio on and sort of be a bit more attacking from right back? But let's be honest, Perry's been getting into the box a lot recently. His late arrivals in there have created a lot of danger. Some of our brightest attacking play that yesterday was from him sort of arriving late into that box and creating opportunity and dragging out space for boys. So he doesn't deserve to be dropped. It is just it's not a full system reset. I know people are like really panicking and saying, "Oh, it needs tearing up and starting again." It's not. It just needs another tweak. It just needs something else in there, and sort of BBM being brave with his cause again. He feels like he's been very safe. He feels like he's playing the same teams, trying to be safe with it.
I think there's two things at play here, and I think the reality is we're going into an international break where we've had some bad injuries in this kind of period of play. Obviously, Salek being out, Davis being out unexpectedly with a concussion that's kind of morphed into a hamstring injury. I think it is. I don't know why he seems to be out longer than he could have been, and all of a sudden, I think that's limited our options. And I think BBM is probably just like, we lost to Wycombe, but we haven't lost that many games in this period again, and it's just about getting to the international break in a good position. And I think that's part of his thinking as well, because it's like we've won games earlier in the season by rights where we shouldn't have won. Obviously, the Leyton Orient game at home, was it Doncaster at home where we scored in the 97th minute? We've probably picked up points there that we shouldn't have picked up, and now we've probably dropped points where we should have picked points up. But it kind of balances out. And I imagine, like, when I used to go watch non-league, we had a manager at Walthamstow. We had a manager called John Mackey who approached games in blocks, and it's about average points over those blocks. And BBM strikes me as the kind of manager who probably looks at things in the same way, where he's gone, okay, over that block we might have over-egged our average, and on this block, yes, we might have underperformed our average, but it balances out. And I think just getting to the international break in a position of power where we've got 8 points, actually 11 points. Yesterday it was probably about getting there with 8 points, but we've ended up in 11 points with 7 games to go. When you have players to come back in, is probably part of his thinking. And I also think he's probably protecting his squad a little bit, because we are short of numbers at the moment. I think, you've got players who are playing every week who probably need a bit of a break. And I think Kellyman's probably one of those players. He's never played this amount of football before. He's been coming out of injuries. And I think you're seeing him struggle a little bit. And he's having to play a slightly different game against, if he's playing in the 10 where Colwell now plays, he can goes between the lines and do more of what he's more used to. He's kind of having to lead the line at the moment, which isn't his natural position. And I think BBM is just playing within ourselves a little bit to kind of not limit the exposure to that. And I think that's where yesterday comes out of, really. I think maybe, Tom, there needs to be more onus on the players to do a little bit more, to be a bit more creative, because they do sometimes feel very rigid in what they're doing, which is fine. And I think, to your point, Ben, about the system, people are starting to question the system, but BBM deserves so much more credit for what he's done this season. And I don't think the system's at fault. It's just we're kind of running out of gas a little bit going into international break. And the players are a little bit scared to make those mistakes, because you might end up exposing yourself, Tom.
Yeah, that's a weird way to end our sentence.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you overstretch yourself, you create gaps that then other teams can counteract and exploit.
Yeah, I think it's finally, I think the lack of activity in both transfer windows before and mid-season started to catch up with us a little bit, right? Like, we've made very few signings this season, and now we're running out of numbers a little bit. And I think the way to look at it is we've actually earned this kind of like dip in form, because we've put the points on the board, and we've got to the stage of the season now where we are leggy and we are running out of numbers a bit, but we've got the points on the board. And you can see across the league that other teams are doing exactly the same thing. They also drop it in form, because there's smaller squads at this level, and it's going to be inconsistent now in the run-in. And we're in a fantastic position. Like, you would have, if you'd offered us this position at the beginning of the season, we would have bitten your hand off. You would have offered us this position 3 weeks ago. We would have. Like, we're in a fantastic position, and we need to remember this. Like, whenever, like, I'm panicking slightly, right? Because I don't like seeing us lose games, especially when we haven't been used to it this year. And your natural feeling is, oh my God, we're losing at the wrong time in the season. But the reality is, we're running out of games. Like, teams are running out of games to catch us, and they're dropping points. Hardly anyone around us, apart from above us, which I don't care about anymore, anyone behind us, they're not getting points to come and catch us. So we're fine. So let's not panic. We're still, like you said earlier on, we're still a better team in these games. I'd be worried if we were starting to be turned over. We're not being turned over. We've made a silly decision, and we've struggled to break a team down. That's going to happen from time to time. We've earned this rest now in the international break, and hopefully we come out firing, because our next kind of 4 games are fairly tricky. With like Peterborough away, then you've kind of got Bolton and Huddersfield, who are decent sides knocking around that playoff picture, and then Reading as well. We've got to be at our best in those 4 games to get some points out of it. And to be honest with you, 2 wins out of those 4 games is probably enough for us to still be sitting pretty. So, like, let's calm it down as a fan base and, like, take stock, because we're in a fantastic position, and one that we wouldn't have thought we'd be in last August.
Yeah, we'll talk about the general state of play
Bolton's
shortly.
run-in is minging.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing for us. Is like they are playing basically the top 6. Apart from, I don't think they're playing Lincoln, but other than that, it's pretty much every other team they're playing is at least in the top 8. So it's easy to panic and be like, oh, we're going to battle this. But from where we are now, we've played so well and built up this sort of cushion like we've been great before that, and that's what's built this cushion up now. So we've got a bit of breathing room there. It should be fine. I trust BBM. I trust these players to come through this. It is just, I'm not going to say the B word again, but it is just one of those things. It will come good. I'm not overly panicking about this now.
Overly panicking? Underly panicking?
I don't know.
Ben?
I'm not panicking
the right amount. No, and I think yesterday's performance, Tom, I think if you watch the game, there's only one team who are really going to win that with the chances we made. And we talked about Bailey, Peacock, Farrell making those saves, but on another day, Kellyman probably scores 2. On another day, Wintl's header goes in. We just didn't score the chances we made, did we?
We didn't create enough either, I think. But like you're right, though. On another day, those 2 go in. It's a comfortable 2-0 home win against a team that we were better than. And you stretch your season out, there's going to be games that end like this. There's going to be frustrating games. And we're just lucky it's coming now, to be honest with you, when other people are having bad results too. And like I think about it from seasons gone past, like kind of growing up, it felt like I was consistently watching us draw and lose games when we should have been winning them, when we were still quite high up in the table, when we were in the playoff picture. I just feel like I don't know, it feels worse these days when we drop points. And I don't know why that is, but like it takes me a couple of days to kind of step away and go, actually, it's not that bad. It's a draw. Like we haven't lost against a terrible team in this league. We just struggled to break them down. And I'm just repeating myself again now. Like I think I'm just, as this pod is going on, I'm trying to talk myself round from panicking a little bit, because I think after the Blackpool game, I was getting a little bit wobbly. But like the further you get away from it, the more you realise like we're in one hell of a position. It's just Lincoln us some sort of juggernaut this year. Like the run they're on is unbelievable. Like fair play to them. That is some run. And the fact that we've been within touch and distance of a team on that run shows how good we've been as well.
It's a generational run, isn't it, from Lincoln? It's the kind of thing that happens once every sort of 4 or 5 seasons. It doesn't happen every year in every division. It's like Fulham when we talked about it. It's like Fulham when we got promoted, but it doesn't feel like Lincoln are going to drop it anytime. I kept thinking, surely they're going to have a little blip themselves, but I don't see it happening now. I think they're 2 wins away from automatic promotion, which is nuts.
I think they can match. Can't they match Birmingham? Was it Birmingham finished on 105 last year?
I thought they finished on more, but yeah, Birmingham did have. I think Birmingham have the record.
But yeah, I think they're. I just worked out now. They're on for if they win every game until the end of the season, and you can't bet against them the way they're on. They're on for over 100 points, 105 points. Like you can see them breaking 100 points with this. There's no shame in falling second to that. This is they're having the season of their lives, and good on them.
Good on them indeed. Let me see if there's anything else to talk about. We haven't talked about Perry NG's yellow card. Let's talk about that. Ben, was it a yellow or was it a red? It was. That's my favourite. Vicious.
It's the best thing he's done all season, and some of the goals he scored have been outrageous. I pissed myself at it. It was the best Perry NG thing. I think if it was a red card, and there is an argument where it could have been a red card.
It could have been a red card.
It would have been ridiculous. But the fact it's a yellow card, it was very funny. Like if it backfires on it, it's a disaster. But the fact he did it after being like blatantly fouled and sort of pushed off the ball.
Yeah.
Before that, and him and that lad were having proper handbags for most of the game. It was quite enjoyable. But it was a pure fuck you sort of hit, and I'm all here for it. I loved it.
Yeah, there was a point earlier in the game where I think NG almost DDT'd that Anderson fella. He got his arm around his shoulders and pulled him to the ground. And I was amazed that no one did anything about it then. But it just kind of, in the heat, it kind of simmered away until that moment. And I think you could see it. As soon as NG legged it towards him, it was like, there's no way he's getting anywhere near the ball. And he just kind of scythed him through the middle. We haven't seen, Tom, that much of NG's shithousing this year, but he's kind of stayed under the radar with it. But that was like it coming to the boil, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it feels like it's bubbling under the surface at all times with Perry NG, and I think you see more of it when things are going against us, and they've started to go against us a little bit recently. So I'm not surprised a little bit's come like leaking out. It hasn't come out in full flow yet. We haven't got like a flood of Perry NG shithousery. It's just a little bit of it. But I'm hoping that little taste is enough for him and he's not going to lose his head over the next couple of weeks, because we can really do with him not having one of those moments where he takes it too far. I think he's got it just right there, right? He knows how far he can push it, and he's pushed it. So I'm hoping that's enough for him now to chill out for a little bit.
It was funny.
Hope so. It was funny. And there was a brief that I think he gave away a free kick and he was marking him from that free kick. And I was like, he's going to do something again here. Like, you could just see him. It's like, he's going to do it again. But he remained remarkably restrained in the second half. So maybe we're seeing a new side of Perry NG.
I reckon, though, if you could see Perry at that moment, you know, the Terminator sort of red lock-on block that he gets, like if it's like his POV, he had that and it was like target acquired. And that was only ever going to be the result there, was him clattering him.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Right, let's go to twitter.com/VFD Ninian. Ben, were there anything on Instagram? Did you not post on Instagram this week?
I forgot, I'll be honest. Yeah, so apologies
to our
listeners on Instagram. I do apologize. Yeah. I was I wasn't even doing anything. I was just lazy and forgot. So I was keeping track of the Rogerstone stuff, doing that and forgot. So I apologize.
Unbelievable. If it's not me who does it, it's not Ben. Unbelievable. I could have posted as well, to be fair. Forgot. Thomas Taylor,
Tom's
football,
very
eh?
I don't have the logins. Don't want
to. He doesn't have access to anything. It's a miracle he's here. Thomas Taylor, football, eh? Dire today, but somehow still go further ahead of Bolton and Bradford, because why wouldn't we? Nothing about this league makes sense. A few weeks away now will hopefully do us good. Feels like the international break has come at the right time. Harry says, fully get the frustrations after the day. We seem to have stagnated up top, but anyone that booed that team needs to have a look at themselves. Salak and Davis back after the international break. 7 games to get used to the top of the scoring charts, yeah? I think he needs to score. I think Ballard's on 21 now. So Yusuf needs to score 9 goals, I think, in the next 7 games. Hope that Ballard scores no more. Milo says, also, I get that the wingers are frustrating to watch, but that's how wingers work. If they were consistently beating their man and delivering good end product, they wouldn't be playing for us in League One. There's another comment about that shortly, which kind of is the complete alternative to it. You'll spot it when I see it. Phil Weston says, people need to realise that we're at the business end of the season. Teams are fighting for survival, playoffs and promotion. There are no gimmies. We have a young, inexperienced squad. Fans need to stick with them and help them over the line, not increase pressure by moaning. Giggsy says, Everett said that they saw what we did against other teams who came to block and worked on that. We just couldn't break them down. It's what we should expect for the next 7 games, and we needed to make a plan for it. Port Vale and Burton did us a huge favour today. 3 wins and a draw. Forever Blue 86 says, was frustrating to watch today. Tanner seemed off it, a few actually. Maybe a break is exactly what we need. The negativity is creeping in. You can feel it today with the fans, and I can't understand why I hate our fan base sometimes. John Walsh says, having a blip at the end of the season could work to our advantage in the summer. BBM, hey, Vince, mate, need to fill those gaps that were obvious towards the end. We'll struggle in champ if we don't. Vincent, okay, here's 50 million. Oh, in our dreams. CCFC Baz says, why does Ashford do all the hard work? Then when it comes to the easy work, seems to cut back. Same as both wingers. I thought about this. I think yesterday was just, we had no one in the box. Like, you know, last week when we played Exeter, Ashford was able to put crosses into an empty box because their defenders were pulled out. Blackpool packed the box, and we only had Kellyman and Colwell in there who could really challenge. So part of me thinks if he put a cross in and it had gone nowhere, people would have been frustrated. People are frustrated with him when he tried to recycle the ball. I think if you watch the way we play, we work so hard on recycling the ball, and so much of our good play against Exeter came from recycling the ball left to right. It just didn't work yesterday because Blackpool had 10 men behind the ball at all times. It's going to happen. David Pearce says, sadly, no plan B. We're going to not win headers in the box against League One giants. Why not fizz balls along as someone is gambling? And what gear did Ben James buy in the Kitman sale? I bought a bunch of base layers, some socks and some shorts. Well, Ryan March did it on my behalf. Ben, what did you buy?
Picked up first team training top.
With the first team branding as well, so they know that you're in the first
branding.
team.
Yeah. Just, this is more of a message to Ryan March than anything, really. First team. Just remember that, Ryan, yeah?
All right. Wow.
And then there's what else did I pick up? A pair of last year's map shorts because it's got the circular badge and they look lovely. And I got one of the sort of burgundy and grey half t-shirts as well. And that for under 20 quid is fantastic business.
It is. Tom, what would you have bought?
Oh, everything. I didn't realise it was that cheap until you lads were saying it. And I've got FOMO. I've got more FOMO about this sale than I have most of the games this year, I reckon. Because I reckon I got so carried away. It's probably a good thing I'm not there. But That is so cheap. Fair play to the club for just putting the stuff out there for people to buy.
Fee played a blinder because all I got was a call from her going, I knew you'd be in the shop after work. And I reckon her ringing me there probably saved me another 30, 40 quid because I had more items in my hand. I was like, she's going to go mental if I do this. So I did put a few things back.
Well, you can always go back. I think it ended actually yesterday. Win Howell says we are struggling, but Bolton, Bradford, Moore are struggling too at the moment. That's the only BBM I care about. Bolton, Bradford, Moore. Don't get it.
All the other teams.
Oh, yeah, all the other teams. Very good. Very good. Glad someone's listening. I'm reading. ONG CCFC says, noticing a similarity last year when the pressure of playing at home was our biggest weakness. Matt Thomas, a point gained and the gap against Bolton grows a step closer to the championship. Gareth Enticott, Bradford and Bolton will have played 2 more games with us by the time we play next. It could massively close the gap, but we'd have games in hand. So what do you prefer? A bird in the hand or 2 in the bush? Don't really understand the phrase. I think I'd prefer a bird in the hand. Tom?
It feels weird saying anything about Bush now. I think I'd rather them have to play the 2 games before us now. We do normally you're like, oh, you don't kind of want to have games in hand, you want the points on the board. They're in such a bad run of form and the pressure's on those teams to get points now. I'd rather them have to play before we do. And they have to get a result to put pressure on us, because if they don't, it takes the pressure off us then going into those last few games.
Ben?
It all just sounds rude, doesn't it? In the hand or in the bush. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think both of them aren't exactly in great run of form. We just got to do what we can when we play. It doesn't. I'm not worried about the teams right now.
Gaz Williams, this is the point, says down from 17 points needed after last Saturday to 11 points needed despite not winning either game. Need to remain calm. Leon Cox, Lawler and Puscott, clean sheet again. Shock. Paul Carey, 2 new wingers, first thing to be addressed in the summer. They're key to how we play. Not one of ours is up to level of championship as a regular starter. That's not the tweet about the wingers. There's another one. Brett Davis says, admittedly, it's frustrating that we haven't got a plan B when we've seen the same thing for 3 home games in a row. However, our lead has grown by a point against all odds. Points on the board is key. 2 wins likely does it. Gigi the Bluebird, which of these is most likely to happen by the end of the season? Cardiff score from a corner. The opposition receive a red card. Cardiff get a penalty. Score from a corner. Ben?
Yeah, I can't see us scoring from a corner anytime soon. They're either not great or directly from a corner. Short corners, much to my chagrin, are working. So, yeah.
Well, I said we're going to score from a corner, but what do you think is more likely to happen? Scoring from a corner, someone receiving a red card, or we get a penalty? Listen to the question, Ben.
Sorry, I thought it was least likely to happen.
Most likely. I said most.
Most likely, us get a penalty. I think we'll get one in the next few weeks. We always seem to get one towards the end of the season.
We do, yeah. It doesn't really matter. Tom?
Is it most likely?
Yeah, most likely, please.
Most likely. I reckon all 3 will happen in the same game.
Oh, I like it.
I reckon the red card, might lead to a penalty and we score from a corner as well.
Very good. Ben Jones, Ashford.
Or in the same play, red card, penalty gets saved, goes out for a corner, we then score from that corner.
You had to take it too far, didn't you? There we go.
Yeah. No, that's
spoiler for everyone.
Interrupted me there as well.
Sorry.
Ashford sitting his man down with 45 seconds to go, 4 players in the box and passing it backwards sums it up. That was Ben Jones. James C. Roberts got away with that one. Think a 2-week break is well needed. Salick coming back will be critical. Sam Kirby says BBM has been fantastic and I love Ruben Colwell. However, the system is not suiting him at the moment. Also, Joel Colwell should be first name on the team sheet. Not sure why he's been dropped. MJ Kerr, think we're really missing Salick. We're missing his finishing and everything else he offers. I believe we get there. Bolton lost, which goes in our favour. Amy says the quicker we move on from this week's result, the better. Sam Griffin, it looks like teams have figured us out. They can come to the CCS, sit and know we're not going to threaten them enough with a low block. We'll always give teams chances. There's never a good time to have a wobble, but it's making me nervous. Lee Spear, I think we've already got enough points. We're out of form, but it seems Bolton have shat the bed too. Harry Dickens, can I surprise you? I've always really liked Burton Albion and Port Vale. Matt Long, I've been confident all season until now. Rick Lewis, surely now after today, Brian must realise that the false 9 system doesn't suit or work for us consistently, and that also trying to incorporate Ruben and Amari in the same starting 11 isn't productive either. We need Salick back in the team and fast. Sam CCSC, unfortunately, this Saturday I wasn't drunk enough to forget that utter dive of a football game, so I'll ask you, what is your favourite Forgotten City chant of old? Don't sack Mackay, Malky Mackay. What's your favourite chant of old, Tom?
The Don Cowie Pele comparison chant. I think
nice, yeah.
I've said about my love for Don Cowie last week. I think Ben might have missed it. He wasn't here. But I think, yeah, I've always had a soft spot for that one.
Ben?
Yeah, big fan of that one. And the Kevin McNaughton, loving my life chant.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I'm probably going to go with. There's a lot. I really like the Peter Thorne chant, and Magic Hat. Like, it was the first time I'd heard it when we had Peter Thorne. And also, I think a shout out to Michael Chopra to the Automatic. I think that was when we were actually at a creative peak as a fan base. The Automatic, a Welsh band with a Welsh football club singing their song. Can't go wrong. Tom Lang, let this sink in. The way results have gone the past 2 game days, if we'd managed to win, us and Lincoln could have been playing to go up first game after the international break. Never mind, 11 points clear, 7 to play. Rest up and let's put the fuck on teams these last 7 games. Morgan Davis, our fan base really don't help us on occasions. It was a poor performance, but the negativity from the crowd is ridiculous. Booing a team off who are second in the league is mind-blowing. No chasing team are consistent enough to put us under pressure, so we'll be fine. CCFC Joe, today is not a day for head loss. Teams have figured out how to frustrate us, and it's showing. We win that game with a fully fit Salic. Trust in BBM to get us over the line. Alex OS, that was a bit shit, wasn't it? Yanto says Tanner's still overrated. Let me see. I'm trying to get through to the few more. Matt Bluebird says, who are the arses who booed at the end? Geez, obviously not long-term fans who think it was bad. You were then in the late 80s or early 90s. Yes, we're here again. On to the game. Ruben seems to slow down the play and is trying hard to get the ball in the wrong areas. Need to change that. MJCCFC says, the wide areas have been neglected for too many years. BBM system lives and dies on the quality of these wingers, and there's absolutely nowhere near enough pace or quality out there. Arguments could be easily made over replacing the whole set. Now that, I think, is an overreaction to a game where Ashford was probably our best player. Our wingers have been in good runs of forms in terms of Tanner. Was it 12 assists in sort of 13 games? Yes, he wasn't great yesterday, but that's throwing out the baby with the bathwater, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, like at times this season, you've had Willock, Tanner, Ashford, Davis playing wide and all playing well. And like we touched on it earlier on, like players of that nature are inconsistent.
They're patchy.
But like we've created so many chances this year. Like, I think it is a bit harsh. I think like sometimes we look back on, eras gone by, and we've had wingers who've been really excited, like Chris Burke, for example. I loved it every time he played, but like he was frustrated at times. But you only remember the good bits from those things. And we look back at some of these players the same way. Like Tanner's had some unbelievable moments in the Cardiff shirt, and that's what he'd be remembered for. They can be frustrating, but like, come on. Like, we're coming towards the end of the season. We're like closing in on promotion. We should be filling the stadium again behind the team. And at the moment, we're all losing our minds a little bit. And I'll throw myself into that as well. I'm not as excited as I should be because we've had it too good this season. And we're all panicking now, and we're trying to find scapegoats, and we're trying to find out what's going wrong. But like, I don't think the wingers are as problematic as people are saying. And I know there's a lot of people saying it, but I think they're all wrong.
Cal says we need Salic back. 15 days break needed to recharge the batteries and go again. And the final word goes to Oliver Rees, which is simply fuck. State of play, Ben, going into the international break. From what I've seen on Twitter, I don't know how necessarily spot on the maths are, but Bolton basically need to get 4 more wins from the last 7 games than us to go up ahead of us. Do you see that happening?
No, I've got their fixtures up in front of me here because I'm prepared, which is
give us their run-in.
So Friday they are playing Plymouth away. Plymouth probably the most informed team in the league at the moment, and are my dark horses to win the playoffs. I think they really.
Aaron Hockin, are you listening?
They then go to Stockport. They then play Stockport at the Reebok. Then they come to the CCS. Then they play Stevenage at the Reebok. Then it's Huddersfield at home, away to Bradford, and then on the final day at home to Luton.
God, that is a tough run. Everyone's in the sort of top 10, isn't it? Basically, or top 12.
I think Luton are the lowest faced team they face in 11th, and that's only they've only came down because they drew. It's it's a honking run for them. So, do you see him picking up 4 wins there with us also falling off the face of the planet, sort of performance wise? I don't personally.
And also, if you look at, they're playing Luton, who are only 5 points off the playoffs. They're playing Huddersfield, who are only 3 points off the playoffs. They're playing Plymouth, who are 1 point off the playoffs in the kind of 7th place. Stevenage are only a point in the playoffs. Stockport are only a point in the playoffs. They're playing all these teams that
Everyone
are all
has something to
fighting
play
for their
for.
lives.
That's mad, actually. The way that's fallen as well. And like beginning of the season, not all of those teams are ones you'd think would be in that mix. Like Stevenage as well. And like fair play, that is a tough one. It makes our running look a lot sweeter.
Yeah,
It does. And
Bradford are probably next. Then they've got Northampton at home, Wycombe away, Stevenage at home, Barnsley away. Sorry, Bolton at home, Exeter away on the final day. So theirs is probably more comfortable. So they're realistically probably saying they're probably looking at third place, but their form the sort of last few weeks has been really patchy. It's worse than our sort of their running. So again, it's easy to get drawn in and sort of say we've been off the boil, but other teams dropped off as well. I think it's not just a case of that. I think, all in all, I think every team's sort of flagging now towards the end of the season. It's been a long season. We've played a lot of football. So just looking at that sort of makes him go, okay, it could be worse.
Yeah, and I think, you look at Wrexham last season, there were times where it looked like they were going to throw it away. I know they ended up going up and all that kind of stuff, but they had some really bad results sort of at the second half of the season. I think, Tom, it's just natural, isn't it, that when you're going for these things, when you're fighting for promotion, playoffs, whatever it is, you're just going to have moments where things don't go your way. You just have to carry on and hope for the best.
There's just loads of games of football.
Too many.
There's loads of it. And I think it's a tough league to be in. Like there's some long trips, there's some tough stadiums to go to. And I think luckily this year, our home form has been spectacular up until the last couple of weeks. And that's the reason we're in the position we're in. It's, to be in the position we're in, like we said earlier on, like it's amazing that we're like this far ahead. We've done a hell of a job being there. We should be enjoying it. It's a tough league to get out of. There's people who've made a hell of a lot harder work of it than we have this season. So, we should be getting promoted from this position. If we don't, then it is a disaster, and we can rightly start booing if we balls it from here.
Yeah.
But I just don't see us doing it. Like we've put ourselves in a great position in what is a tough division. So yeah, we've got to be happy with it.
We've played 49 games this season already.
Yeah, it's mad. With a
49,
small squad.
Yeah. I was thinking, the season, it's so, I guess it's probably because we're at the business end of the season. Obviously, 7 games left. We're on the cusp of promotion, all that kind of stuff. People are probably panicking because of that. But I remember before Christmas, we were so much more relaxed about things. It was like things, we would lose a couple of games and go, we've played so much football already. When we have a break, it'll be fine. This team's still doing well, all that kind of stuff. Now it's like, get rid of all the wingers. Now it's like, replace the whole team when we go up next season. I also just think, I was texting a friend of the pod, Charlie Cottrell, about yesterday. I just think BBM he should have so much credit in the bank with what he's done this season. And we talked about it earlier in the pod, like people need to be a bit more calm about the way we played. And, there's tweets this week that showed that we create the second most chances in every game throughout the season. We're the second top scorers in the league. I know that's not everything, but people then question that whether we're an attacking force. I think we obviously are, because we're creating things and we have been creating things. It's just the last couple of games, yes, we haven't scored in those games, and that is the frustration. But it's not a reason to write off everything we've done this season. And I think, Tom, it comes down to the fact that if you'd said with 7 games to go, you'd have an 11-point cushion, I think every Cardiff City fan would have bitten your hand off for that, wouldn't they?
Of course. And the fact if we were in first or second would have made a blind bit of difference. And we're just nervous. That's all it is. We're just getting to that end of the season. We're all nervous. We all wanted to go well. And we just don't really know what to do with our nervous energy. Some people kind of go into their shell. Some people boo. People just don't know what to do with themselves. I really don't know what to do with myself. I played lawn bowls on Friday. I'm trying to distract myself. I'm clearly trying to do it. Well, I don't know what's going on. But like we'll get through it. We'll be absolutely fine. And, I'm one Bosnia win away from completely forgetting about Cardiff's run of form. So I'll be distracted fairly soon.
Yeah. I think when you look at around the other leagues, sorry, I had a quick look. Every
doing
league
live
now
research.
39 games played. In the Championship, Middlesbrough sort of probably going to finish second. They're on 71 points in second place. MK Dons, second place in League 2, and they're on 74 points. So we're the highest, we've got more points than either other second place team. Even as far as that, Bromley, who are first in League 1, are on 79 points.
League 2.
So it's not like we're miles behind sort of League 2 winning, Coventry are on 80, but they're on a spectacular run as well. So other teams have got a lot more reasons to panic in and around this sort of promotion place in other leagues. I think we need to sort of like look at it and say, look, we're in a really good spot here.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, all being well, if everything carries on the way it's carrying on in 7 games' time, we'll look back on this and go, "Why did we panic?" And everyone will have forgotten about this had happened. I just think there's enough. There's been enough frustration this week that it's up. It's knocked people off course a little bit, and I think we just need to remember that we're in last season. A million years ago. Last season feels like a completely different time frame, and it was so bad last season, and this season has been so good. And I just want us to remember that. And I think even Tom, to the point of what the club is doing off the pitch, obviously during the last couple of weeks, Ruben Colwill signed a new contract, keeping him here till 2030. That kind of thing shows that the club is doing things the right way all of a sudden.
Yeah, the fact that's not the only bit of good news we're trying to cling to. Like, do you know what I mean? That would have, we would have gone on about that for about 40 minutes last season because the only good news story we got is kind of got under the radar a little bit. But things are going well on and off the pitch at the moment, like as well as they can be. Like we know we're a shambles, but let's not go into that at the moment. Like things are going okay, and I think as a fan base we kind of do look for darker times because we think they're going to come. We're trying to get ahead of them a little bit, but look, everything's fine on the field. We're locking down our players, like our promising players, to bigger contracts. It may not mean they stay here, but we get more money for them and things like that. So, yeah, I'm very content with the way that things are going.
And Ben, ahead of the Wales game on Thursday, 4 Wales players in the squad, which is just fantastic, isn't it? It's back to what we want, a core of youth who are having an impact on the international stage.
Yeah, and doing that in League One, it's mad. It shouldn't be underestimated. Like 4 players making a squad that has the potential of making the World Cup in League One. Wild. It's just nice to see like the idea of on the World Cup stage, like multiple players having Cardiff City next to their name. Hopefully most of them will still be here when the World Cup starts. But the idea of sort of seeing the world seeing Cardiff City there, it's really exciting.
Let's talk about the Wales game briefly, and then we'll talk about the Australia games that are coming up, Tom, because I know you're attending there to see Alex Robertson. What are our thoughts ahead of Bosnia on Thursday? How are we feeling? How's the feeling in the camp, Tom?
I feel physically sick. I have done for about 3 months. Like, I hate this. I hate these playoffs. Like, I'm glad we're in it, don't get me wrong, but it's all I think about. It'll come into my head at least a few times a day. And it's kind of snuck up on me the last couple of weeks because we have had so many Cardiff games. But yeah, I've got a horrible feeling going into this Bosnia game. But again, that's just me being pessimistic. Like, look at what we've done, winning 7-1 at the end of the group. Like, we should have more than enough for them, but they're just another solid team. And then I'm trying not to look past that. In classically football cliche, you've got to win the first game and not thinking too far ahead. But I'm genuinely not trying to think past that first game. And you never know, Northern Ireland might turn it on out in Italy and do us a favour. But I don't feel great at the moment. Like, there's a bit of confidence there, but I mainly feel sick.
Ben, how are you feeling?
Nervous. Yeah, it's a lot of excitable energy. I think Wednesday and Thursday, there'll be a lot of nervous poos going on. It's
very good.
Do you not get that?
I don't really get nervous poos. No.
I get nervous poos, yeah. So I'm back and forth to the side like that. So it's just gonna be one of those. There's a lot on this sort of like plans for the year. It's sort of hard to make it. We're looking at, do we weigh up and sort of go out to there, can try and get out to Toronto if we qualify? Do we then stay out and do Seattle? Probably not going to do LA because it's just not that nice of a city. But
LA's the best.
Is it?
LA's class. It's got everything you want: shitholes, good places, crack smokers on the street. It's quality. I loved it.
Yeah,
I
think LA is genuinely one of my favorite places I've ever been.
You've not sold it there. You shouldn't work for the tourism. Like, for someone that works whose like job does involve mess.
Look, comes in, pens out.
you had me at crack smokers on the street.
But, that was Santa Monica, lovely. Santa Monica Pier, beautiful. The beach, Santa Monica Beach.
Yeah, true. Mate. It's just a lot on like the holiday plans, and I'm going to call part time for this as well. But a lot of the year's holiday plans do rely on us qualifying, and if that doesn't happen, we've got to go back to the drawing board and work out where we're not going to podcast. I'm not going to podcast from over the next few months. So,
Yeah, I mean that's very first world problems, frankly. Let's just quick predictions. Are we beating Bosnia, Tom? I wouldn't even talk about the second game. Are we beating Bosnia?
Yeah, well, I can't say no. Yeah, I think we'll sneak it. I think it'll be really, really nervy. But I think we'll sneak it 1-0.
Ben?
2-0. Wales.
Oh, I'd love that.
All right, fair enough. Is Lawler going to get a start, Tom?
I think he does. Yeah, I look at it. I was sort of looking at him and Roden together at the moment with sort of the players that you're not playing Capango. And this isn't sort of like trying to stroke up the Cardiff Swansea stuff, but he was not great against Coventry last night. Lawler sort of like when he's played before, he's looked like he belongs playing international football. It's a big call, but I don't see anyone else starting ahead of him.
No, I don't see it either. I think Lawler is almost getting to the territory of kind of one of the first names on the team sheet, the way Bellamy rates him. I think, he's talked him up so much in the press conferences and talked him up so much, apparently, to Vincent Kompany. So it's clear that he really kind of likes Dylan Lawler. And I think he's going to be a mainstay for the squad for the next, he could be in the squad for the next 15, 20 years, depending how long he plays for. Yeah. Might play till 40, Tom. What's funny about that?
It just sounded mad out loud. 20 years, like it's a long time, that's all.
It is a long time. We've been talking for a long time on this podcast, so we'll end it there. Thank you to everyone who's listened, watched, interacted with us over the last few weeks. We're going to take a little break for the international break from the normal pods, but we will have some content to post. So keep an eye on our YouTube, youtube.com/VFTNinian, kofi.com/VFTNinian if you want to give us some money. That's about it, really. Ben, what are you doing with the rest of your Sunday?
Sofa shopping.
Oh, DFS?
No, Sofology this time. We've done DFS. Fucking, it's hard finding sofas, boys. It's hard work.
Yeah. Do you know what DFS stands for?
Discount Furniture Store. That's my guess.
No, I was just going to make a joke. Yeah, I think it is Discount Furniture Store.
Oh, there we go. I got really excited then.
I was going to
go the legs out from that straight away there, Tom. Well done.
My bad.
I was going to go dope fucking sofas. But I don't know if DFS...
I really wish that was it.
Let me have a quick look. Does DFS stand for anything? No, it doesn't seem to. I'm on their Wikipedia. Direct Furnishing Supplies.
There we go.
Liquid podcasting. Tom, what are you doing with the rest of your evening?
I'm just upset I got that wrong, so probably cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, thought you might. Right, we'll be back after the international break, but keep an eye on our YouTube for the other content. We'll see you then.